Reddit, what is the most ducked up way you got back at someone that wronged you? Throwaways encouraged. I have one I'm about to do in a couple days. See, my parents suck. I've been taking care of them for a while also going to school and whatnot. And still they are trying to cheat me. Pawn my things. etc. But I've become fed up with them. I'm out of town at the moment. But when I get back, the next time they ask me to walk 2 miles to get them a pack of cigarettes, I will walk outside, around the house, have a friend with a van come, bring my pre-packed sheet out of the basement entrance, leave and stay at my friend's house for a few days until the day my train ticket is planned for. Then move 2,000 miles across the country and live with another friend who just got me a job, rendering them worthless pillheads waiting for a pack of Pall Mall menthol 100s for the rest of their sad lives. At an all-male military boarding school during high school, there was this huge douche on my hall. We took his Febreze bottle and filled it with piss. Then took said bottle and sprayed his pillow, wall locker and opposite corner. So he gets back, smells urine and immediately grabs his Febreze and douses everything. Eat a big dig. Donovan. Eat. Capital A. Big dig. I had a friend in high school who became an asshole during our senior year. There were a bunch of little things that added up to our friendship falling apart. But at the worst of it, I pooped on his car one night. Real simple. I just crawled up on the hood of his car and took a sheet on his windshield. I just knew that he'd walk outside the next day and think, what the duck is this? Fun fact, we're actually great friends again now. He still has no idea it was me. My past girlfriend cheated on me. And her roommate at the time had gotten to that point in their lease where they weren't super fond of each other and kept some distance. Her roommate was smoking hot, kind of itchy sometimes, and wasn't fond of my ex, so I decided to make a move on her. Best move ever. The look on my ex's face when her roommate walked me to the door in her underwear after the first night was priceless. We proceeded to have hot, dirty, loud sex almost nightly for next 8 weeks until their lease was up, and for a while after that. My ex even walked in on us in the living room once. Kinda dickish. But goddamn was it fun, and there's no way I felt bad about it. TLDR, my GF cheated on me. I have loud awesome sex with her roommate until the lease is up. Edit. And so it came to pass that the highest voted thing I will ever post on Reddit was under a throwaway in a what's the most ducked up thing you've ever done thread lol. My so-called best friend in primary school stole my shiny Pokemon cards. I was only 6 or so at the time. But that didn't stop me from being a sadistic little first grader. And having older brothers. Well, let's just say I knew how things worked. Guess who found out the truth about Santa? The Tooth Fairy and the Power Rangers all at once. Don't duck with 6-year-old me. My friend hit me, jokingly, so I licked my hand and rubbed it all over his face. In hindsight, the fact that I kept doing it for weeks afterward was probably what made it weird. My first high school BF was not very good with grades, so he asked me to make him a fake report so he could show his parents and not get into trouble. He also cheated on me with my best friend and dumped me. He then promised to get back with me if I forged the report for him. I agreed up until the day when we were meant to get our reports for school. I told him I didn't do it. He got bashed by his dad when he got home for the string of D's and F's. My girlfriend of 3 years that I dated through high school broke up with me my first semester of college. We went to different schools and I later learned she was hooking up with one of her guy friends there. Anyways, when we both were on break, she asked me to bring back all the stuff she had given me. Presents, sweatshirts, cards, etc. So I drive to her house with all the things we've exchanged in the past 3 years. Once I got to her house, I saw that she had invited all her friends over and they were sitting with her along with her parents in the garage. Anyways, I walk up with her sheet and exchange. Everyone there had that smirk on their face like they were laughing at me. Anyways, as I give her back her things, I say, if only I could give back your virginity. The look on her parents' faces was absolutely priceless. And I walked out of that lion's den with the biggest smile on my face. My neighbor knocked my dad's motorcycle and simply left it on the floor. It smashed a mirror and they didn't even leave their insurance details. My dad refused to call the police, saying they probably didn't notice. Yet I saw them look at it and proceed to carry on with their usual lives. This annoyed me so much. I decided to call 20 taxis, 5 Chinese takeaways, and a stripper dressed as a policeman to their house all for 1 AM in the morning. It was a really dickish thing to do, but we all do stupid things, right? Duck throwaways because I'm proud of this sheet. My best friend since I was 3 years old. Started texting and flirting. Then eventually sleeping with my boyfriend of 7 years. He was apologetic, regretful, and begging for me back. As was she. It was a mistake, they said. Never happen again, they said. Until it happened again. Well, my best friend had this obsessive relationship with this guy Billy, who was so heartbroken by her infidelity. He came to me. He felt like a loser having just lost both his girl and his job. So I hired him at my job where I was a manager. We became good friends. And my now ex-best friend was going nuts. I then started a rumor that Billy and I were dating and serious about it. She saw us in a car together while I was bringing him home and went ducking nuts. She started driving like a psycho and texting me saying, "How could you do this to me? Why would you do this to me?" But I ignored them. I dipped off the road and dropped him off at home. And unfortunately had to fire him for stealing money from work. All in all, I got my revenge. I ducked with her head. I ducked with my ex's head. Got them all upset, but never actually did the horrible act of cheating that they did. But they all think I did. And I'm okay with that. My friend got roofied and raped by a frat duck about a decade ago at a local high-toned university. Despite a written of evidence, he was never arrested, never expelled, never had to face any sort of penalty for this, and managed to get my friend labeled a sleuth who totally wanted it and was now only pretending it was great because he wouldn't break up with his girlfriend for her. Pretty charming guy. Really. I put capsicum extract in his eye drops. My sister used to beat me up, steal my birthday money, call me a fag in front of friends and girls I liked. When mom went shopping for Christmas, my sister would tell her to buy me these horrible clothes to make me look the part. Pretty much was just a total itch to me. So every time I had to pee in the shower, I'd peeing her shampoo and body wash all over her razor, body sponge thing, everything. Duck you, Vanessa. When I was around 13-14, I used to hang out with my 21-year-old neighbors. I didn't realize at the time that all these guys would do is convince me to do stupid shit, then run away when I got in trouble. This continued until I was about 17 when I finally realized what was going on. I was furious and wanted revenge, but by the time I thought up a plan, these guys had moved. I decided I would make my move anyways. These guys were serious stoners and always had parties. I went to a party once and chilled in the back. In my car I had 5 cartons of heavy whipping cream that I had purchased 6 months prior. I left them in the fridge until that day. I took each carton and poured one in each of the air vents. I had 1 carton left over, so I poured it into the AC unit. Not sure if it did anything. The smell coming from the cartons was so rancid and disgusting I had to stop myself from barfing a few times. A few weeks later the house was up for sale. No one would buy it because of the smell though, or so I heard. They gave up on selling it and tried burning it down. After an investigation, the oldest brother was arrested for fraud and served 1 year in prison. I haven't heard anything about them since. My then high school girlfriend was a total itch and wanted me to abandon all of my friends. Would always try to bring me down, etc. When I got fed up, I broke up with her on picture day. She took them, but her mascara was everywhere. 2 days later, I told her that I was sorry, blah blah, and I wanted to get back together. She liked having someone to walk on, so of course she said yes. I then broke up with her again on retake day. Ducking nailed it. didn't do this. But I witnessed it. I was at camp and there was this one really obnoxious kid who kept getting on everyone's nerves. He was a know-it-all and a tattletale. So one night we're in the bunk area and it's just me and this other guy that had the bunk across from me. The little doucher had left a giant bag of Twizzlers open on his bed that was still about 3/4 full. The guy across from me noticed the Twizzlers, hopped down off his bunk and said, "Watch this." He then proceeds to take every Twizzler and rub his gonads with them. An hour later when the kid came back I had to leave because I couldn't hold in my laughter at the sight of that little bastard eating his Twizzlers. I did this at camp. Was this me or do we have a common Twizzler bowl rubbing story? Camp in PE? This happened in VA. My apartment neighbor dinged my car door once. My mint red S2000 had a ding. And his old silver Eclipse had red paint on it. I kicked in his door panel from top to bottom. Left to right. Duck throwaways. Dated a girl who I really liked. But she was always hot and cold to me. And when she was cold, she could really treat me like a bucket of liquid sheet. It took me way longer than it should have. But I finally manned up and dumped her. She proceeded to alternately try to win me back and seduce my friends. Basically, an immature reaction from an immature person. So, couple of weeks later, I meet an amazing girl at a concert. And we start dating. This new girl is awesome. Cool. Fun and sexy. But within a week of dating her, I realized something else about her. My itchy ex had had a job the summer before, which had her basically spending the whole summer with a girl that she had developed a major complex about. Wherever the two went anywhere together, guys would always hit on this other girl and never hit on my itchy ex. It got to the point that my ex had developed this major anxiety complex regarding this girl she worked with. By pure random chance, I had gone out and met that girl and was now dating her. The satisfaction I felt when I showed up at a party around a month after the breakup and letting itchy ex see who I was with was immense. She had a total meltdown that included crying, screaming and ranting, before screaming at the guy she came with, "Take me home right now. We're leaving." To which he replied, "Call a cab, psycho. I'm not taking you anywhere." It's the little moments in life that you have to cherish. Edit. Tried to make the second paragraph a little less confusing. May or may not have succeeded. About 4 years ago, I found out my husband of 10 years was ducking around with a girl he went to high school with. It should be noted that they never dated because, according to him, she was too much of a who or not to duck more than one dude at a time. At this time, I was a full-time student and he was financially supporting us and our toddler. When I found out, I flipped sheet. Understandably, he called me a psycho and decided he wanted to leave me for her. So I quit school for a year, worked 2 jobs, paid for the divorce and supported our child by myself. I ended up supporting myself through school, graduating with honors, landing my dream job and generally kicking ass on my own. He, on the other hand, has been cheated on several times, lives in a shitty trailer park with his whore girlfriend and generally is a loser. Technically not ducked up revenge. Just very sweet. Edit. Thanks for the props. Dudes. My degree was in culinary arts. I now work for an amazing catering company and am a personal chef on the side. I love what I do. My kid is a ducking rockstar and generally I am doing better than I ever thought I would. I was living with a guy at university who kept taking my food without even asking. And never paid me back. I woke up wanting to eat some cornflakes before my long day at uni. But all my milk was gone. That was the last straw. So I went to the local shop, got 2 pints of milk, and proceeded to ejaculate into it that same night. Went to sleep and woke up to find that most of it was gone. With a note saying "I'll pay you back." It tasted a bit off. I held magnets up to all of my roommate's 5.5-inch floppy disks after he had threatened to throw me over the balcony and dump the house's garbage on my bed. This was before finals and he was a programming and language minor. He ducking bombed an entire semester. Ducker. Not me. But one of my co-workers at a restaurant was fooling around and hit one of the cooks in the head with a tomato or a piece of dough or something. Either way, when the culprit went to leave work, the cook was on top of the roof and dumped a bucket of water on his head as he walked out the door. A friend of mine stink palmed me at a party. My hand stank of his or something wicked. Later on that night after washing my hands I stole his pack of cigarettes. Took them to the bathroom and wiped each one all over my exposed bell end. I watched him smoke every one of them through the night whilst the rest of my mates and I called him big dick breath and other such insults. A proud day. My sister was dating this guy for a while and moved in with him about 2 years ago. She moved back home 6 months later because he raped her. My whole family wanted to press charges, but my sister flat out refused, saying he didn't mean to and shit like that. Fast forward a year later. The guy and a few of his friends got drunk and set off fireworks in some school buses in my hometown. Being drunk, he immediately told my sister about it, and she told me. I turned around with no hesitation and told the cops. He's still awaiting sentencing as far as I know. His friends turned on him for lighter sentences. He got kicked out of school and lost both his jobs. And I am so glad I did it. One time I pranked someone by going into their host files and blocking Reddit. They couldn't go on Reddit for weeks. That's pretty ducked up. Full stop.